There's a lot going on right now with a lot of challenges out there for both buyers and sellers. And so tonight we are going to go over how to use the MLS. I'm going to just really dissect it. If I was just going to be working with, say, my mother-in-law or a close friend or family and understanding a segment of the marketplace. And hopefully you'll pick up a few tips and tricks as we go through. So I'm really going to ask for Shannon's help and just kind of walking through the MLS and a few things that I use on a regular basis. And then if you have questions, it is a small enough group where I'm happy to spend some time. I think at the end we might have a few minutes to go over maybe an example or two. So keep that in mind as we go through, or if you need me to look at something for you and help you analyze it, that might be something we have time for tonight. Okay, let's go ahead and jump in. So I want Shannon to go right to the MLS and log in, and we're going to figure out some trends that might be important for you when you're talking with buyers or sellers. When you think about the strategy of understanding the market, you're being a market master or being knowing your numbers or knowing what's going on in your local area, one of the things you want to think about is figure out what are you trying to analyze and who is your analyzation for? Is it for a buyer? Is it for a seller? Is it for both? And really your strategy is going to vary depending on who the information is going to be provided for, as well as your niche. So when I say niche, meaning if you focus on condos, if you focus on single family, if you focus on land or commercial, those types of niches would need to be addressed because you have to know what you're analyzing. If you try to go at this really, all encompassing all of Washington, all of the MLS or all of Seattle, you're going to get lost in a lot of the information, and it's going to be overwhelming, quite frankly, for you. So maybe tonight spend some time and figure out what are you really wanting to focus on. And then that way you can drill it down into the local neighborhoods or the local complexes. I know a few of our brokers specialize in downtown high rises, but they're very familiar with, say, Insignia and another one that's down the street from it. They're not as familiar with, say, the bulk of Belltown, Ballard, all of the areas of Seattle. They're really focused on a specific high-rise community. So again, that will help you in showing that you're an expert at a local area. And it will also make this process of getting some more information about the local area in a much easier way. So if you're struggling with how to really run the stats, run the numbers, you want to spend some time. For me, it takes me a couple hours a month. Literally, that's all it takes for me to, if I'm watching my local neighborhood or if I'm watching a specific niche, like say I'm going to be selling a condo that's in the $1 million price point in Kirkland, I'm going to need to know everything there is to know about that. And it takes me about a couple hours to actually gather the information from InfoSparks or market reports. So before I do that, if you want some general information, go back to the home, Shannon, NWMLS.home. Yep, there you go. And there's a little tab at the top of your thing that says news and stats. Many of you just go right on into Matrix and don't even realize it's here. And then when you look at this, you're like, wow, there's a lot of tabs. But I always love the press releases. They send those out by email. If you click on the press releases right in the top, and every single month without fail, they've done a kind of a good job for you. If you're an agent, you're like, I want to be an expert in Washington or where the MLS service is, you can read this press release and almost regurgitate or kind of paraphrase in your own words what other designated brokers have put in a press release for October. So, and it goes back quite a ways, all the way back till June. So if you're wanting to kind of see some notable trends, I would maybe start here. I don't know if you guys do this, but they actually put a video together for you that you could then play on your social media, or you could share it. But if you see the market, it's on YouTube. So you could easily share that right on your homepage or on your social media, and MLS puts together this nice little infographic video. They also do a snapshot, which is nice. which you can also share on your social. I don't know if you knew that. Every single month they put this together for you. You just download the PNG or download the JPEG, and that's a great little thing you can do. If again, you want general. If you're not wanting to do general, we want to really get hyper local with the specific statistics of a neighborhood or a niche, which is what we're going to do tonight. This is all background information. We're looking to really drill down into a specific area or a specific niche. But I just want to make sure you guys knew it's right here. All of those stats that many of you ask about, or how does one agent stand out over another? Well, they utilize the tools that are right there in the news and stats tab on the MLS. Again, all free. I can say free kind of loosely because we do pay our dues, and that information is provided by the board of directors and by the designated brokers that participate in this. So that's a great thing that you can also gather information.
My purse.
If you have a question, go ahead and yeah, there we go. Inman News is another place that I like to gather information from. Inman News has regular updates, regular press releases. If you now have to pay for Inman News unless you have a title or escrow company that has actually, or a lender that actually pays for that for you. WFG has hooked me up so I am able to view Inman News, but there are other title and escrow companies that can get you local market statistics. So if you're really kind of trying to focus on a hyper local area, your local title rep, the title, even we have 12 really good title officers or title sales representatives that are assigned to Best Choice Realty. You could reach out to any of them and just say, hey, what does your company offer in terms of knowing what's really going on in the Federal Way area or what's going on in the Kirkland area? Most likely they will provide you with what they call a NAR report, which is about $1 for that report. But that's something you can get. What are the demographics like? What are the sales like? And it will get you some information that you may not be able to find here on the MLS, or it's coming from a source that you can trust. Again, that's sometimes very helpful if you're really trying to get information. So now let's go ahead and actually talk about segmentation, because I think many of you start out way too broad or just try to, hang on to whoever you could hang on to as far as their local knowledge. You guys need to be the expert though, and you have the tools right at your fingertips to be able to do that. So that on the MLS, when you go into Matrix, there is two different types of reports. There's InfoSparks or market reports. Let's go right into InfoSparks to show you what I'm talking about. And we're going to look at the different segments of an area. So as many of you might have known from my past, I have a mother-in-law who is the biggest looky-loo. And when I say looky-loo, she loves to look at houses. She's done this even before I was married to Eric. She loves to go out and look at homes. And she loves it that I know the area of Federal Way very well. But I have to really show that I know the area. She would be able to call my bluff any day because she's lived in Federal Way pretty much all of her life. So she's twice my age and very knowledgeable and knows the real estate market. She probably should have got a real estate license because she likes to look at homes that much. So she knows the market very well. Like she could tell me today without even looking at the MLS, what is a 3-bedroom, 2-bath home going for out on Dash Point? She would know that information. So in order for me to play at her level, I have to know my InfoSparks, and I run these reports very much, like at least once a month, because I have to go to dinner or go to Thanksgiving, and we have to actually have a conversation, and it's always geared around real estate. What's the market like, Rochelle? And she tests my knowledge. So it's good to have people like that in your life, but also you need to think about that. My mother-in-law is probably like a lot of other people out there that think of real estate agents as just people that go and open up the doors and show you homes. We do a lot more to take the information and be able to, in essence, explain it or to analyze it in such a way that it helps a buyer or a seller make a buying or a selling decision. And many times this information has helped me in be able to take a listing or be able to explain something to a first-time buyer on the reason why they didn't get the first offer that they wrote up because there were multiple offers. this data can sometimes soften the blow and make it easier for you to get them under contract maybe again. So there's many reasons why you would go here to InfoSparks, but my number one reason is every month I gotta check my Federal Way market information and know my segments. So the segments, many people, they start too broad. They think, I'm just going to be the expert of Federal Way. Each city, especially in the Puget Sound region, has their own type of area or neighborhood that you kind of need to understand. And sometimes it affects school boundaries, affect that. Sometimes proximity to amenities would impact that. Sometimes it's just simply waterfront versus non. Those types of different type of segments need to be considered. So you want to really segment your area. And so I'm going to look at two different segments tonight. I'm going to look for my mother-in-law at 98023 and 98003. And for those of you maybe that are probably 20 years in the business or more, that's usually area 100 or 110. But let's, for the interest of some of our newer brokers, zip codes are pretty accurate. But if you are in an area where zip codes are not, which that happens quite frequently, you might want to consider comparing areas versus cities or zip codes. So let's go ahead and look at two zip codes, 98003, yep, and then 98023. My mother-in-law lives in 98023, but we also want to compare the other area of Federal Way, because again, we want to know what trends are happening in both areas. There's also another area that's kind of Auburn West Hill, which also it could be comparable to, so that's 98001. Again, I know my zip codes really well. If you're a new broker, you got to get really familiar with your zip codes, your area numbers, things of that nature, because you have to be able to speak intelligently about your price segments. The next thing you want to do is, so we've identified the zip codes or the local areas of the local neighborhoods by comparing three lines. It's just a bar, like a line graph that compares the Auburn to 98023 to 98003. The next thing you want to do is break it out into price ranges. There's segments. And I don't like the original ones. They're not, in my opinion, they are not reflective of what we want to compare. It's great because they give you 4 options, but we want to customize every single time. So go ahead and click custom. Now, when you think about segmenting the price point, you want to think about what is the entry? What is the low? Like low meaning there's multiple offers, things are flying off the market. What is the middle range of the price segmentation? And what is the upper price segmentation? Meaning like luxury, or maybe it's second homes, people that have second homes and they also have, it's the luxury, the upper market of the Federal Way area. Could be view homes, could be waterfront. That would be in that category, in that price segmentation. So when you're looking at being a market master and really understanding your market, you could be talking to, say, a luxury buyer or a contact that you have, and you're talking about something that really impacts maybe the entry or the low, where you really need to be speaking to them in the language that they understand. So you do want to establish the segmentation of your pricing as you're looking at your InfoSparks. So in the entry, I wrote this down, and the reason I know this is because I look at this on a regular basis. But a starter home now with multiple offers, you're looking at not very many properties, and we're at the 499 at the or less, 500,000 or less. So just go ahead and type that in, Shannon. You have to put in 499 in the right box. Yep, there you go. Type in 499. The next one we're going to do 500. So the second box, there you go. Yep, put in 500. And we're going to go up to 750, 749. Nope, change 749, 9. There you go. And then the next one goes to 750 to 1.25. And then the last one, the upper luxury, would be 125 and plus. Okay. That's 1249, sorry. There we go. So once you get done doing your custom, you have to click done. Or if you messed up, you got to clear. But you can see that it automatically did it, and it's going to carry over for all of the different 3 areas. So now I'm able to look at the median sales price in all 3 zip codes or all 3 areas. And what I noticed by this is that in October, everything is increased in all three areas by about 9.6 to 13. It's kind of a nice, easy range. It looks like the 98003 has taken the lead as far as the amount of increase in the median sales price. But what's nice about this is it goes back 3 years by default. I always like to change that to 10 years. And just so I can look at a decade, and that really gives the clients a better look at this graph. I like this when it actually prints or actually share it. It just looks a little healthier, a little bit wider of a range, which is nice. So I like the way that looks better than just the 3-year point of view. It automatically goes to 12 months. You don't need to adjust that one. And then you're basically looking at, is there anything else we're trying to compare? If I was really only comparing one stories or like Ramblers, or if I was only trying to compare waterfront, there's an arrow. See on the right, Shannon? Go to the arrow. I'm not going to change anything. I'm going to leave everything all sizes, all sizes. Nope, up at the top, right above that. There we go. See how it kind of, you hover over it and it just kind of moves to the right. And I could exclude waterfront or only, I'm going to leave everything alone, but I wanted to show you that this is all included. You can isolate certain, you can drill down a little bit more. For the interest of really understanding what's going on, there's no need to. We're going to look at everything that is in those 3 zip codes. Again, my mother-in-law, she's got a single family home. I would say she's got, it's on the golf course. That's where her primary residence is located. So she would be, if I was to put her in a segment, her price segment, she's most likely going to be in that middle kind of price range if you were to segment that. So let's go back to the very beginning using the arrow. Perfect. And she does have residential. I don't want to compare condos. So we can just only look at the residential, which is fine. Notice our price ranges stayed the same, which is great. Just double check that that is correct. And now we're really looking at what is the median sales price doing. We do want to know what the median sales price and the average sales price. I like to toggle between the 2 of those on the sales price. Down on the bottom of the graph, there's some black boxes. Yep, just click on average. So right now the graph is showing median. What we are going to show is the average. So you can see it's gone up in both of those sales price. Things are looking very nice for all 3 zip codes. Now we go to new listings. What are the new listings like? Now we're in all price ranges right now, so we're getting a feel for what all price ranges. But let's take a look at these new listings. And let's say that my mother-in-law is considering putting her house on the market. Maybe she's thinking about going to a retirement facility, which she probably is at this point in her life. Let's go ahead and click on 750. Let's see, that's the low. Let's go to the mid, 5 to 750. That's probably where she's at. And let's take a look at what the new listings, how many new listings have come on the market? Oh my goodness, it's gone up. There's 100, there's 200. So when she says, well, there's no listings on the market, well, she might be talking about the $499 or less. She's probably not talking about her price segment. Click on $499 or less, Shannon, up at the top. So now we can compare. Okay, now that's speaking the language. See, that's actually talking the language. When she says, Rochelle, there's not very much on the market. Well, there is not under 500. In fact, there's less than there was the month prior, and certainly less than January of 2020. But if you go to her price segment, it looks like it's increasing. So look at that difference, how that increases. And if we go to 750 to 1.25, interesting how Auburn, the 98023, which is where she's located, we have more listings over in the dash point area than we do in the Auburn or in 98003. So you can see the green line is actually where my mother-in-law lives. More listings in her area. So that's, she's reading some article, maybe Federal Way News, something like that for her to come up with that assumption. But the numbers don't play out. This is coming directly from the MLS, this actual sales data directly to you in a nice graphical format. So I could easily share this with her and share it on my social or put it in a PDF or email it to her in a live format. I have the ability to share right here from my screen. So at any point in time, you could PDF or print this. I like to include some of these graphs with my analytics when I go on a listing appointment. So we can actually show that. There we go. How many new listings? And that green line is my mother-in-law. So as you can see that things are starting to move, and there's more competition than there was, say, 6 months ago. Okay, let's look at the next thing, which I want to talk about, which is the days on market. How long are things staying on the market? If we click on days on market, we'll compare all three areas. And let's go back to our price segment of 500 to 750. And let's look at how, what are the days on market? How long will it take my mother-in-law to get an offer on her home? Again, if we price it right. If we price it right, if she's within these numbers, it looks like things are going very quickly. You might have to hover over the graph so you can see it, but you can see it's 8 days, 9 days on the market, and it looks like it's been like that for a long time. If you go back in time, Shannon, there you go. So basically for all of 2019, and it kind of rose up a little bit for the black line, which was 98003. Went up to about a month, but then really February, March, after the COVID, look at what we've got, you guys. After COVID, we're down to like a couple weeks on the market, and now we're down to a week on the market for her price segment. So it should sell very quickly. Let's price it right. Let's make sure we get it marketed correctly so that you get full value for your home. That's the message, but that you could easily show somebody the graph and you could look at. It's interesting how 2012, it went way high on, my guess is because of new construction, and you'd have to isolate the new construction or remove it if you were trying to paint the right, all construction previously owned. That will probably, no, it didn't. So interesting. I'd have to dig into why that number went up to like 400 days on market. Maybe there was a glutton of some foreclosures. I don't know. I'd have to really dig into that. But if you wanted to not show that, you could easily go back and just show her 5 years. Of course, my mother-in-law would ask me questions about that. No, let's go back, 5 years or 3 years. And then that nuance would be removed. There you go. That might be a better graph to show her. So then again, we could share that easily, days on market, and that's a little clearer on the 6 days on the market. A lot of times people want to know, what is the absorption rate? They'll throw that question out at you. And it has a lot to do with what's pending and what is active on the market. It takes kind of a mathematical equation. So if you wanted to look at the months of supply or that type of absorption rate, you would actually click on the graph to the right of the days on market. You would click on that graph. And that will give you the months of supply. So that would be how many months of supply do we have for residential homes in my mother-in-law's price segment? And it looks to me like it's still a seller's market. In residential, it's different than commercial. So again, I'm speaking for residential with this particular scenario, but anything less than 2 months of supply, when the graph shows less than 2 months, it is a seller's market, meaning you'll most likely get multiple offers. If it's more than 2 months, say it's more between 2 to 4 months of supply, it's more of a balanced market. Anything above 4 months of supply is a buyer's market. So we're currently in a seller's market in that price segment of 500 to 750. Now, if we have Shannon toggle to 1.25, let's see what that price segment would look like. Let's see how much inventory we have on that one. So that would be our upper price category. And days on market looks like it's crunching the numbers. It's showing you. We are still doing very well. It's still looks like a seller's market on all 3 accounts. But you can see back in January of 2019, 98001 went up to more of a buyer's market, and it just slowly went down. And you could see at some point it was between 2 to 4 months, but currently it's a very good time to be a seller right now in that price segment. Let's go ahead and change that to 1.25. Let's go with the luxury market. And again, not enough data to support it. So again, there's not much luxury on the market in 98003, 98023, or 98001. So not a good graph to look at. That would be one you probably wouldn't want to show. Let's go ahead and do the percent to the list price, which is down at the very bottom. There you go. And that's going to show you how many, and let's go back to our price segment. Yep, 500 to 750. So if my mother-in-law was to list, would she get full price? I can pretty much tell her that yes, she would get full price. Right now, things are selling at 100% of the list price. So again, price right, and you hopefully will get. Now, if we price lower, we'll probably get more, but percent to list price will actually take the amount of the sales price to what it actually was listed for and average that out for you. Okay, so it gives you a nice little graph. You guys know how to share or print. I don't use all of the black little things here. The days on market, I love. The months of supply. Go with months of supply closed, Shannon, so we can see the months of supply closed. And again, still looks like we're in a seller's market right now, because anything under 2 months, again, is a seller's market. Okay, fantastic. So we talked about segmenting, we talked about inventory, we talked about the median, the days on the market. I think I've got a couple scripts that I could give you guys, which would be helpful. So once you do the analysis, a lot of people are like, well, what do I do with it? What do I say to my client? You want to provide the report to them, and you also want to provide in some sort of email or some sort of explanation. Writing some sort of analysis helps them understand that you know your numbers. So what you can see, let's go back to the sales price. Shannon, let's click on that one. And then we're in the right price segment, and we could basically share this. Let's go 5 years so we can really get a sense. Perfect. Let's eliminate 98001. You can X out of that. Maybe we just want to show 98023, which is my mother-in-law. X out of 98003. Now it's only going to show the graph of how is it looking for the sales price. And let's do median sales price. So we could send them just a simple graph like this. The median sales price has gone up by 10% in your zip code. If we want to only do residential, which might be smart, go ahead and isolate that by property type. Yep, there you go. And now it's 450. So 450, 10% increase, not bad return on your investment. So you could basically print this graph or share this graph, and underneath the numbers, you could write a paragraph or an analysis. Basically, you want to have some sort of call to action. You might highlight a new property that came on the market that was priced similar to the one that you are considering listing, and say, this potential seller has seen an increase of 10% year over year in their home price, in their median sales price, because you can clearly show that from the graph. So again, there are a limited number of calls to actions that you can get. You just really want to find something that you are able to explain, send them the PDF, and then have a call to action. So let me know if you'd like me to run the numbers on your home. Let me know if you'd like me to show whether it's a seller's or a buyer's market. You want to open yourself out with a call to action that helps that client understand, helps show that you know your numbers and you're able to use the graphs to get them what they need to make a good decision. As you can see, this is one I've used before. As you can see from the current market report, prices in this area are increasing, even rising dramatically by double digits in some neighborhoods. Rock bottom pricing means opportunity for you so that you can increase your net. Would Wednesday or Thursday be better for us to meet by Zoom? Have you been told? So that's one of my scripts that I've used. Have you been told in the past 6 months that a home that is well priced, in great condition, is lasting only less than 7 days on the market? It's time to go on the market as soon as you can get your home ready. When can we meet so I can discuss the numbers with you? Again, you have to be very proactive at this and getting them the information and then coupling it with a call to action. You're using knowledge that you already have available at your fingertips, and you have the right marketplace if you manipulate the numbers. And so that's all I've got for tonight. But if you have a specific question, I'd be happy to answer any questions at this time. But have a great week. We'll talk to you next Monday.